Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talkin' Habs, where you get your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge. If you like trade rumors and speculation, then this video is for you. 8 trade rumors for the Montreal Canadiens defenseman Jeff Petry for the upcoming trade deadline. Jeff Petry has either asked for a trade or been told he's being traded, and there's some confusion on which it is. But it seems clear that he'll be moved if they find the right deal or one that makes the team better or at least works for the team's sake, which might be a reported second-round pick and a top prospect, and it seems like definitely no salary retention. Since this news came out, all kinds of rumors on where Petrie will be traded to have popped up like everywhere. So in this video, I round up all the rumors I can find and give an opinion on the players involved and the possible pros and cons of making the trade. So let me know down in the comment section what you think. If you have any of your own or if you like the ones that are out there. So just let me know in the comment section. The early indications are for a Habs rebuild. It clearly seems that that's what they're doing. But the new management hasn't officially announced it yet. But they sort of have, in the things kind of that they've said. That's why I said it clearly is that way to me. I expect they will announce something as soon as we approach the March 21st trade deadline. The Ben Gerard and Arturi Lehkonen trade rumors have been out there for a while now. And guess what? It now is Jeff Petry's turn. Yay for Jeff Petry. With 3 years remaining after this season on his current deal at $6.25 million AAV, Petry might be a deadline trade that will be hard to pull off. And I can easily see them move him only in the off season. And with term left on his deal, there's just really not any rush to do that, to trade him right away. Our new GM, Kent Hughes, has said that the team doesn't want to retain salary on any player if they can avoid it. So guys like Petrie, Brendan Gallagher, Yoel Armia, Jonathan Drouin, David Savard, Mike Hoffman, and maybe even Paul Byron might be harder to find deals for in the rush time frame of the trade deadline because of the term left on their contracts. Having said that, here are some trade deadline rumors involving Jeff Petry. Like I said, let me know if any of them make sense to you in the comment section. So just to be clear, I didn't mention Tyler Toffoli because I think his contract will be easy to move. I didn't mention Josh Anderson or Christian Dvorak or Joel Edmondson. And honestly, probably should have not mentioned Jonathan Drouin or David Savard because, in my opinion, Montreal hangs on to these veterans, good or bad for some of them bad, going forward for different reasons for each of them. So let's look at the Petry rumors and see what's out there and what they're talking about. Subscribe and ring that notifications bell. And hey, give a thumbs up. So remember, these aren't in any particular order, right? So you got to remember that. So let's start off with the first one I've got in front of me, and that is Jeff Petry to the Dallas Stars. So the pros for me on that is, first of all, Jeff Petry's wife is from Houston. So imagine it would be an easy move for them. It's kind of like going home for at least one of them anyway. So I think it would be a good fit. I think it's a good fit for him on the team as well. The return could include, and I think there's two options here, their first round pick of 2020, and that is center Maverick Bourque. And the second round pick, obviously. And I say or goalie Anton Khudobin, who's in their minor league system right now because they don't have room for him up on the big team. He has 1 year left after this season at $3.333 million. Now I say picking up Khudobin because this goalie situation here. You might want to have Khudobin next year instead of Montembeault because I'm pretty sure they're going to trade Jake Allen. So if that's the case, you might want to have a guy like Khudobin. Khudobin might be you can work that out and get him like not retaining any salary. You take Khudobin, they don't ask you to retain salary on Petry. Now the Stars, the other option is John Klingberg, who's a UFA at the end of the season. Now they could trade Klingberg before trading for Petrie, and just by what they get back in that deal could decide whether or not they'd be willing to part with Bork. Or, in my opinion, you could trade for Klingberg, 1-for-1 for Petrie, and then flip him. And that kind of opens up a new set of possibilities and what you might get back in that return, right? So let's look at Bork for a sec. He's 20 years old. He has 2 years left on his ELC. He's a center. He was picked 30th overall in 2020. He is from Plessisville, Quebec, so he's basically a local kid. He's 5'10", 178 pounds, and he's produced at every level so far. Pretty good numbers. So I think he's okay there. And like I said about either getting him or Klingberg, you're getting a second round pick. It seems like unless they go for Klingberg, I doubt they're going to send Klingberg in a second, but maybe. Now, the cons for me of this deal is if you're getting veteran Klingberg, he's a UFA at the end of the season. So he's looking for a lot of money. He wants apparently 8 years, somewhere in the range of $8 to $9.5 million. I don't see how that works for Montreal to keep him. And, that could hamper the trade that you make, although I think Klingberg would be in pretty good demand. So to me, it's a con if you're trading for Klingberg, because now you got to make another deal and all that. So we'll see. Now, I said here they may have to retain a small portion of Petrie's salary, but by taking Khudobin, it might offset the need to retain salary on getting a Maverick Bork. For me, also, though, Bork's a bit of a con in that, and I don't mean that he's a con artist, but it's that he's on a small side. He's only 5'10", 178 pounds. He's 20, so he's not really going to grow that much more. It's just that Montreal has a habit of getting small guys, and you don't want to. We kind of broke that. Not maybe this year, the year before, how we made it to the Stanley Cup final. And I don't want to see them go backward and have all these smaller guys come in. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. So for me, the Dallas Stars might not be my favorite option. Next up, and this one's kind of a no-brainer, is Petrie to the Detroit Red Wings. Why? Okay, pros here. Petrie's from Detroit. Definitely he would want to go back there. Since we know he's kind of asked for a trade. It's hard. He's okay with a trade, whether he asked for one or they asked him. I don't know. It's not 100% clear. The Wings have the cap space. Detroit will be looking for a veteran defenseman because of is Nick Leddy. And right now, the other guy is just not Mark Stahl. They brought them in, but they're UFAs. And Mark Stahl is 35. Leddy's only 30, but they're UFAs. They're probably going to move them for picks. They're still in rebuilding mode. So, and there still should be sellers, right? So, kind of that's why they'd be looking to bring a guy like Petrie in, if that makes any sense. But they're going to need some veteran D for leadership. It's the defense is basically run by Mort Seider right now. This is a young, solid kid, so they don't need Petrie to be the main guy, but they need him behind Seider. But I don't know if that'll work out. I'll tell you in the cons. I say here again, probably won't have to retain salary. They don't want to retain salary. They're not looking to retain salary, so they're going to make deals where they don't have to. And that is by taking Philip Zadina. Zadina is 22 years old. He was the 2018 first-round pick for Detroit, 6th overall, 3 picks behind Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And Zadina was on the minds of a lot of Habs fans to pick him. He hasn't really worked out there. He's going to be a first-year RFA. He's a left wing. He's 6 feet, 189 pounds. In the NHL, 131 games, 20 goals, 31 assists, 51 points. A little underwhelming. So it's maybe he needs to change the scenery. This would be a good opportunity. He still is a good prospect. He's got a high ceiling still. Not a bust yet. So, I could see that being, something that they do. I think that's a pro. He's a good young player. Detroit has 2 second-round picks, so they can give one. They got theirs and Washington's, so they have the pick that Montreal would want. And like I said, they have the cap space. So it's really not a bad fit by that. But the cons are Petrie's a right side defenseman. Detroit's kind of stacked there on the right side with Moritz Seider and Philip Hronek. Both young and probably not moving. So how do they work that out? I don't know. That could be the sticking point. But other than that, I think it's a move that Petrie be interested because his family right now is back in Detroit living there. They don't like the restrictions in Canada. This is why he wants to trade, and that would work out perfectly for him. Next up, Petrie to the LA Kings in return for 27-year-old Olli Mata. He's a defenseman, and 22-year-old forward Gabe Vilardi. Now, Mata is a 6'2", 206-pound defenseman. He's played 500 NHL games, 30 goals, 101 assists for 131 points. He's a UFA at the end of the year, so more than likely he's a rental. I don't know that Montreal wants to sign a 27-year-old defenseman going into a rebuild like that. Maybe they do. Maybe he impresses. I don't know. Vilardi is a center, and he's, I think, his first year as an RFA next season. He's 22, as I said. So that's the right age, I think. Montreal will be looking for players around that. The good thing about Mata is that he's a UFA next season, so there's no commitment if you don't want to keep him around. So moving forward, that's pretty good unless he impresses while he's here. Pros for making the deal. Deneau and Bergevin are over there. Bergevin's the consultant for the GM, and Deneau's playing there. And that might help, by them pumping up Jeff Petry. I guess, you know how Bergevin is with the players he likes. He signed Petry to his current deal, and I think traded for him as well. I wrote here again, by taking Mata, you don't ask to retain salary on Petry. I think that's obvious. And Montreal doesn't want to retain any salary. They made that clear. Vilardi is, did I say everything? He's a 22-year-old, first-time RFA, 11th overall in 2017. He's 6'2", 185 pounds. I like the height. A little bit not on the heavy side, like he's a little lightweight there. He's from Kingston, Ontario. He's had good numbers at every level, and in the NHL in 71 games, 14 goals, 17 assists, 31 points, almost at a half a point per game average, so not bad, and he's young. On the con side, I think a draft pick might have to be added by LA. Kind of, in my opinion, if you want us to take Mata, that's how I'm kind of looking at it. I could be wrong there. I don't know if a second or a third, maybe a fourth, nothing too high, I guess. Maybe the second is out, but maybe add a draft pick, third or fourth. Now, I'd prefer Arthur Kaliev or Alex Turcotte, but I kind of doubt LA is going to want to trade either. So for me, that's a con. I'd like to get Alex Turcotte. Wouldn't mind Arthur Kaliev. Guy's got a good shot, like he's a sniper type. But on to Petrie to the Nashville Predators. They're saying in this one that I saw that Montreal would retain $1.25 million, but we know they don't want to do that. So I don't know if they're going to want to do that. It's in exchange for Philip Tomasino. He's a forward. He was 24th overall pick in 2019. He's 20. He's got 2 years left on his ELC. I see him at more of a middle six guy, but he's produced at every level and maybe could be, I don't think a top line guy, but that's why I say middle six. Tomasino is the right age, but he's not overly big, but he's not either that small. He's 6 feet, 180 pounds. That's not bad. Has produced good numbers at every level so far. In the NHL, his first season was this one we're in. 40 games, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. It's his rookie season, so, maybe not the best numbers, but it's his rookie season. The team, as a pro, Nashville has their second-round pick, so that's not a problem. And here's another pro. If you're dealing with Nashville, if Weber is retiring, so they're going to say, okay, Shea Weber is retiring. He won't be back. Nashville might just want to get him back. I think they will want. And put him on their LTIR till the end of his contract to avoid what's described as a hefty recapture penalty on his remaining contract. So this would give Montreal, in my opinion, some leverage in any deal with Nashville. Kind of even makes Nashville, for me, maybe the best option for them. They have the cap space for Petrie, from what I understand currently this season anyway. They've got $25.6 million, and which sounds like a lot, but that's what I read on Cap Friendly. But I believe going into next year, they still have $10 million left. So he's got term on his contract. You want to make sure they have money next year. They do. So for the cons, I don't see any. I don't see any cons really with the Nashville deal. Tomasino looks like a promising young guy. He's in the right age group. He's on his ELC. He won't cost you anything. Kind of like to have him like minimal amount of money. He's produced at every level. Numbers aren't horrible in his first season so far. Have a season with the team his first year. So yeah, I think this is probably up there as the top one so far. Next one up is Jeff Petry to the Florida Panthers, and this is in exchange for Owen Tippett. There's no draft pick here because you'd be taking on also Patrick Hornquist. They're both right wingers. Hornquist is 35. He's on the IR right now, not the LTIR, but on the IR. He makes $5.3 million for one more year after this, and he has a modified no trade clause. So that could be, maybe that could be something. Tippett is an RFA, first time I believe next season. He's 22. He is 6 feet, 183 pounds. He's a right wing, 10th overall pick in 2017. 14, 19, and 33 are his totals in 103 games. So not overwhelming numbers, but I mean, he's 22, doesn't mean anything necessarily. His father is Dave Tippett, so that's some good pedigree there. Also for pros, Tippett is still a good prospect, I think, and he's a scoring winger, has produced at every level. I think it would be a good fit for Petrie over there, and it gives Petrie a shot to win a cup, as Florida right now, one of the top teams in the league, so definitely a cup contender. Yeah, I think that it works. On the con side, Hornquist's salary could be a burden for Montreal unless maybe Florida sweetens the deal with another pick, maybe a third or a fourth round pick. They don't have a second round pick available for 2022, but they do for 2023. So, I mean, that works for me. Like I said, Hornquist is 35. He is on the IR right now. I don't know how long. So if you make it longer, or if you make a trade now, you might not have his availability for a while. I don't know. So that could be something that as a con. Tippett would be a good return. I can see them doing this deal. And for Petrie, like I said, go over there. He gets a chance at a cup. I think he'd be a good fit over there in Florida. And that could work out. Next up is Jeff Petry to Florida. I just said that, to Colorado. And that's for defenseman Sam Gerard. And that Sam Gerard's been talked about a lot for guys wanting him to come to Montreal. So the pros for me are that Gerard, he is from Quebec. He's from Roberval. He's 23, and he signed until 26, 27. That's 5 years more at $5 million AAV. Why is that a pro? You're getting a guy with term? He's 23. He's a puck-moving defenseman. He's going to be here through the rebuild and still be good when you're done. I like that. He's a local kid. The fans are going to like that. He's a puck mover. That's what they need. He plays both sides of the ice. That's good. Right and left side. In 315 games, he's got 22 goals, 120 assists for 142 points. Not horrible. He's not he's decent offense. And he should be a good fit here for Montreal. And I think Petrie would be a good fit for Colorado as well. You know what? I'd take Alex Newhook and a second. I'd take Alex Newhook and a second if they don't want to part with Gerard. I like Alex Newhook. He's a center. He's young. We know he was in that year that Cole Caulfield was picked up because he was the next pick after Caulfield. Newhook was my guy. Newhook didn't think Caulfield would drop to us anyway, and Newhook was my guy. So I'd go with that. So there's pros there. Cons. Habs will probably have to retain salary for Gerard because of the quality of the guy, and except that he's got a $5 million AAV. So maybe they retain $1.25 million, or maybe they double that and maybe it's 2.5. I don't know, but I think they'd have to retain some salary in that deal, and they don't really want to, so I don't know. But the return is nice. I like both Gerard and Newhook, so it would be worth it if you ask me. If the trade is for Eric Johnson, instead, it makes it different because he's 33. He makes $6 million. He's got 1 year left on with a no movement clause, with a modified no trade. He does wear an A, so there's leadership there. He's the right side defenseman. He would replace Petrie. He was the first overall pick in 2006 by St. Louis. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. In 824 games, he's got 85 goals, 234 assists for 319 points. So if they take Johnson, you know what? I kind of want Newhook in the deal as well. So they say, well, you got to take Johnson. Well, I want Newhook. You're going to take an old guy with a lot of big salary. Yeah, give me the, yeah. So if that's the case and you get Newhook by taking Johnson, I'm okay with that. It's not so much of a con. If you don't end up with a guy like Newhook, it's a con for me. I don't like it. And one con on Gerard is that he's a bit small at 5'10", 170 pounds. But he's played for a while. He's a proven guy. It seems like a lot of these puck movers are not on the big side. So you got to take, a guy that can play. And he is from Quebec. And that might make a difference. But if you could get Newhook, I'm good with Newhook. Can I say that often enough? I don't know. A couple more left. Jeff Petry to Pittsburgh Penguins. And this one kind of makes sense. There's guys there I like too. So the pros, they have draft picks available. So Pittsburgh has the draft picks. That's not a problem. The reason why it might work for both teams, if Letang leaves, and there's no rumors of him coming to Montreal, so he's a UFA at the end of the season. If Chris Letang leaves, it sounds like they're having trouble working out a deal this early, but still. Pens will have a big hole on the defense. There aren't a lot of options like Petrie that's available to fill in, if you're losing Letang. So Petrie could be like a real solid target for them. So this could be a good, really solid option here. You could get back either Pierre-Olivier Joseph. He's from Quebec. He's 22, RFA, 23rd overall in 2017. He's 6'2", 185. So he's got the height. I'd like him a little heavier, but still. He's a tough guy from what I remember playing against them. He was drafted by Arizona, by the way. He's almost NHL ready, is what they say. He's had some games. I don't have his full record. He has produced at every level so far. So numbers are good for a defenseman. Sounds like a puck mover, if you ask me. And he's a tough guy too. I know he can handle a physical play. I also like Samuel Poulin. He's 20. He's still on his ELC for 3 more years. 21st overall pick in 2019. He's 6'1", 208 pounds, so I like the size. Great numbers in the queue. He definitely has really good numbers in the queue with Sherbrooke, I believe. His dad played in the NHL, and right now in one AHL season, he hasn't played in the bigs yet. He has a little bit over half a point per game average, so not bad. I don't know that it'll be a huge scorer, but I like Sam Poulin. Obviously another Quebec-born player. I don't think they're going to get all these Quebec-born players, obviously, but there's some really good options I think out there if you're going to look for players like that at all. Like I said, I don't mind that they're from here as long as they're good and you're not just getting them for the fact that they're from here. And I think in these cases that wouldn't be the case. So they're both local guys. Joseph from Chambly and Poulin's from Blainville. Now the cons: retaining salary. I wrote here probably, or taking salary back in somebody, another contract. Penguins have cap issues. They have the money right now. I think they got $6.3 million available in cap, but it's Jason Zucker's LTIR money. If he comes back before the end of the season, they're in trouble. So maybe I saw it written like they do a Kucherov, hold him off till the playoffs, and then it'll work. So that's the only cons I really see. I could really see Pittsburgh coming after a guy like Petrie if they've decided that they're not re-signing Letang. because there are not a lot of options of that quality out there, or going to be out there. And we got Jeff Petry to the Anaheim Ducks. So the pros on this is that the Ducks have, again, a couple of Quebec players. One of them really good, Jacob Perreault. So Jacob Perreault, he's 19 years old. He's a right wing. He went 27th overall in 2020. He's 5'11", 192 pounds, which for me, a little on the small side. He's got 3 years left on his ELC, obviously. He's born in Montreal. This is a Montreal-born player. Solid producer at every level so far, which means sounds like a puck-moving defenseman. I think he's a defenseman. No, he's a right winger. Sorry. Totally off my mark there. But from what I've heard of Perreault, sounds like he could hit and be a pretty decent point producer. Maxine Contoir. He's 23 years old. He's a left wing. 1 year left on a $2.037 million contract. He was 50th overall in the second round in 2017. He's 6'2", 215 pounds. Physical player from what I know. Born in Longueuil. I see him as a middle six forward at best, but I think he's bottom six more likely. And like I said, the physical type. So, if it's Contois, you got to add more than Contois in a second. There's got to be something else there, if you ask me, for that. They do have the pick needed, at least the second. And I do believe they have enough picks if they have to add picks. Or maybe there's something else there. But I think if you're taking Contois, there's got to be more involved in that. Cons are, can't get Trevor Zegras off there. Zegras, however you pronounce it. You can't get him off of them. Too bad. That's the guy I'd want. You're not going to get Zegras off him. And also Contois on a pick, like I said, wouldn't be enough unless it's a first-round pick. So if it's Contois and a first-round pick, might be a different story. But for Montreal to take Contois, I'd want another, like if they can't get it first, a third or a fourth on top of the second, right? And it's fine in 2023 if it's like a second from 2022 and a third or fourth in 2023. I'm good with that. Or they have Caden Gooley's older brother, Brendan, and he's 24 years old, the left side D. He's an RFA next season. Sometimes that helps, the younger brother actually feel better in the organization, might help him be even better. It might be worth doing that. So, yeah, so Caden, maybe we get Caden Gooley's older brother also in the deal. So that'd be pretty cool. So that's it. I hope you liked that video. If you did, please like and subscribe and hit that notifications bell. And hey, check out that video up there in the corner.